fetus in the womb. They had no idea at that time. So they believed that the blood women spilled at the moon, or their menstrual period, was responsible for new birth. Here's what he says about that. Blood which was retained in the womb was believed to coagulate into a child. Even Aristotle claimed that human life is a coagulum of menstrual blood, while the Roman Pliny, author of the Encyclopedic Natural History, insisted that it formed the material substance of generation. This curious notion was still taught in European medical schools only 200 years ago, ladies and gentlemen. Far earlier, the ancient Mesopotamian goddess Ninhursag was said to have created humankind out of clay mixed with her, quote, blood of life, end quote. The Jews, the Muslims, and the Christians borrowed this and similar creation myths to form their own. Now listen to this carefully. Remember, this person is a British Israelite. And he says, quote, even the name Adam can be traced to the feminine Adama, A-D-A-M-A-H, meaning bloody clay. So there you have it. And when you trace it back yourself, you'll find the same thing. It does not mean blood in the cheeks. Never did mean blood in the cheeks. Cannot mean blood in the cheeks. Now I'm going to give you the research of the Executive Intelligence Review, and this report is dated November 14, 1997. This is one of the best research organizations in the world, as far as I'm concerned. I don't particularly subscribe to their politics, but I do have great respect for their research, because I've duplicated it in almost every instance. I don't research everything they research, and they don't research everything that I have researched. But when we both research the same thing, the results are identical, which means these people are looking for the truth as I am, and they're not trying to put something in there that's not there. They tell it like it is. And so tonight, I'm going to tell it like it is. So take note of this. Make notes. Remember, listen to everyone, read everything, believe absolutely nothing unless you can prove it in your own research. Here we go. British Israelites and Empire. One of the most glaring examples of British intelligence-sponsored psychological warfare against the United States is the bizarre ideology called variously British Israelism or Christian identity. Victims of this foreign-sponsored ideological virus can be found to hold key positions in the Patriot movement and other movements which may be committed to the destruction of the American Republic. Not all patriots are Christian identity or British Israelism. And I can assure you that British Israelism and Christian identity people who call themselves patriots are not. They have no interest in restoring the Constitution for the United States of America, ladies and gentlemen. They want to split this country, and they want the Northwest the 4 states in the northwest corner of the United States as their own nation. So all of these people running around calling themselves patriots who also believe in Christian identity or British Israelism are liars. They are lying to all of us. They have been linked, ladies and gentlemen, to the terrorist bombing of the Alfred D. Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City in 1995. There are many links to that bombing at a city in eastern Oklahoma called Elohim City, which is a Christian identity British Israelist community. And more broadly, a significant portion of what today claims to be Christianity in American society is consciously or unconsciously based on religious belief structures designed by the British Colonial Office to undermine Christianity in general and the American Republican form of government in specific. British Israelism is a syncretic organization which in its simplest variant claims that the Anglo-Saxon Celtic race is the true 10 lost tribes of Israel, that the British sovereign is descended from King David, and that as such, an all-encompassing British Empire is biblically prophesied to rule the world in the few final days before Jesus Christ touches down on the Mount of Olives and ends human history. That's what they all want you to believe. None of it is true. They are not descended from King David. They are not Hebrews. They are not the 10 lost tribes of Israel. The tribes of Israel, folks, were never lost in the first place, in case you didn't know that. None of them were ever lost. The Bible does not say that they got lost. It's a scam. There are many variations on this theme. Some versions say that the horrors described in the book of Revelations have begun, and others believe that the tribulations are yet to come. Almost all, even the militant anti-Semites, looked to the Mideast, to Jerusalem, and yearned for the final rebuilding of Solomon's temple, which will be the incontrovertible sign that the end of the world is nigh. These people are also rabid Zionists, ladies and gentlemen. The roots of British Israelism are obscure, but some trace it to the late Elizabethan period in England, a time which coincided with the consolidation of the Church of England and the beginnings of Britain's maritime empire, as well as the creation of a full-time secret intelligence service. It's also the time, ladies and gentlemen, when the Royal House of England had to come up with some legitimate reason to oppose the Vatican and the Pope and pronounce their Anglican Church the real and only true church. And remember, there was no need for an Anglican Church until Henry VIII wanted to get a divorce, and the Pope said no. And that was the beginning of all of this. You see, all of a sudden, King Henry VIII told the Pope to go stick it where the sun don't shine, and he divorced his wife anyway under the Anglican Church. And you all know the story of the opposition in England and what happened to them. And then the British monarchy had to justify all of their actions. And that's when all of a sudden, right then and there, they became descended from the house of David and possessed the only really divine right to rule. Now, how did this happen? Well, folks, sometime in the near future, they're going to say that they've uncovered historical evidence that Christ did not really die upon the cross, that he fathered children with Mary Magdalene. Those children, along with Joseph of Arimathea, Mary Magdalene, and the children and the bones of Jesus Christ were taken from the Middle East to the British Isles, and blah, 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 blah. Under the throne of England, there's a stone which they claim is Jacob's pillar. And anyway, let me continue with this report. We might take